So, connected? You mean the Wi-Fi? No. We mean the millennials. We want our 21st century audiences to feel connected and to entice them to visit places they considered boring and full of dusty old things. Not all of us are interested in visiting places just for museums. Some people travel for things like sports. We want to entice millennials and others to know that our cultural institutions are hidden gems that help to tell the story of the very place that they consider just sun, sand, and sea, as Dr. Shireen James Williamson said. Every cultural institution displays what makes these countries, cities, and cultures so unique. Ways we use our social media. Well, for starters, we try to keep all of our social media platforms cohesive. This is in keeping with our vibrant brand, which we are also using within this presentation. This includes everything from usernames, for example, museum_Cayman, which we have on both our Twitter and Instagram account. Another reason for this is so that they're easily remembered. Museum, Cayman, that's the first thing I'm gonna look for when I go on Instagram. So we also use the same identification mark and cover photo where we can, like on our Twitter and Facebook. Understanding and connecting with your audience. Every social media outlet is different and carry different audiences. Although there is a growing audience on each one, like an older friend of mine asked me to help her download Snapchat because all the big people these days are on it. So that's what she said. Twitter, we're limited to 140 characters, so make them count. Instagram, it's very visual. Although you can use text, it's not recommended to put a great deal on, as most people just scroll and like whether it's photos or videos. Facebook, you can probably fit your entire Mac presentation in the text and include a photo. All of these social media outlets include the ability to tag people, post videos, and also include your location and a hashtag of your choosing to your post. Some ways we connect. Of course, social media is used to advertise, but we put a little twist on things to make it more personable. For example, during our first ever Lukia mango season at the museum, we appealed to our followers to join us with their best mango photos in a photo competition. And this was the winner. Oh, wait, where'd we go? Okay. We use the museum and its exhibits to entice our audiences to either come visit, share knowledge, or to bring awareness to things like hurricane season.
All the trees falling down, everything that could blow up. All at home, what a rattling are going on. Branches licking up against the house and with the glass, the Nelberry and great trees, the limbs just break off. The sea rise waves mountain high.
We also like to do question of the day. See, digital. It's supposed to make life easier, but sometimes it doesn't always work the way we want. So we like to do question of the day. And where is the video? Okay. Sorry, we have a video for you. Yeah, there we go. And do any of our international delegates know the answer to this question? Wampers. We say wampas. And our most recent would be the Caymanian word of the day. Yep. Wampas. Told you.
You can see some in the stairwell if you're interested in installation by design.
Yeah. This is our Caymanian word of the day. Anna. And Anna not coming to the party tonight a while. And this is this is probably a what? Like or what? And
Another word for us.
yes, that's another word. So geez, we missed out 2 words. Look at that. Those are probably 2 of our most used words in our daily sentences. Anna, awa. Things like this we use to get our audiences engaged. We'll even respond to participants for active engagement. In order to thrive as a cultural institution, or any institution for that matter, it is important to connect with our audiences through conversation and interactive engagement in order for them to feel connected to and a part of your brand. While we're on that topic, the topic of digital media, please follow us on our social media platforms, and maybe by the next MAC conference, we'll have some other social media outlets for you to follow us on. After all, we are moving forward and speaking the digital language.
Thank you. Do we have any questions? That's the end of the presentation, right? I'm not jumping in. Okay, good. Perfect. Caitlin has a question. Let's get that microphone.
Yeah.
It's hiding.
Yeah, I think that one. There we go.
We spoke about Snapchat in the break. Can you, express or explain that a little bit more, what your plans are with Snapchat and how we can use it as a museum?
Snapchat is a very popular social media outlet right now. Although it is very personal, a lot of organizations are using it. You can get things like geofilters. We have some here in Cayman that you swipe left, right, don't remember which way, and it'll say Grand Cayman on it, different looks. And we can have those for various locations, various events, and a lot of places are using them because if I go, the first thing I do when I go somewhere is I take a picture in Snapchat or a video, and I'm scrolling for that filter to let everyone that follows me know this is where I am. Like, I'm in Atlanta, I just got to Alabama, I'm at this game, this homecoming game. So it's very popular, and hopefully in the future that we can have Snapchat as a museum, and because there are different stipulations to it as well that limit us here in Cayman from having a lot of these outlets. So. Oh, I thought we were friends.
We are friends, don't worry. We are friends. Yeah, this is more of a comment or maybe a dialogue that I'd like to start with you. So there are a few museums that I know specifically in LA, but there are museums around, kind of like around the world that use Snapchat as a way to engage their audiences because it's a very different audience from a lot of the times the people that come through the door and the people that are on Snapchat.
Right, correct.
Sorry, I just ate, so my voice is a little bit shaky. But what they do is that they use Snapchat and they either take a photo of an installation and they'll have like a quirky saying that is kind of trending, and that's a way to engage their audience. So do you see that being something that the museum would maybe step into? Because I mean, kind of following on from what Caitlin was saying, like what is Snapchat? Are you...
Most definitely, we have looked at various things that we can use currently as a museum. One of the things where, Brian, if you can help me with I think that you put your phone over that it makes it like kind of virtual.
Augmented reality.
Augmented reality, because that is popular in museums too. You put it over a still image and it brings it to life. And with Snapchat and those other platforms, you can do that. You can have, right, and the geo filters help you do that. There's different things that move. You have Bitmoji, which is kind of a little sticker that's personalized to you that, you can say different things that Brian uses to send me Snapchats. And yes, But yeah, that's something that we are looking at for in the future.
So, did you say Snapchat was the most used of the social media tools that you're using now, or?
No, ma'am. The most Facebook.
Okay.
Facebook. Our newest social media outlet would be Instagram.
Right.
Before we came on this summer, the museum already had Facebook and Twitter. It was just a matter of trying to get them cohesive, keep them updated, and make it more relatable, like we said, to the 21st century audience. Snapchat, we don't use at the moment, but we would love to.
Okay, so then I have two other questions. One is, I noticed with Facebook, it started with a lot of younger people, and then a lot of older folks got onto Facebook, and you saw younger people kind of jump off to the next thing. So I wonder if you have any comments about that. And then also, do you see this social media as driving people to the museum, or people using it as an alternative to going to the museum?
We found, I think, from our first annual Lucia mango season at the museum, we found that a lot of people were engaged. Though the posts that we did got, I think that was like the most engagement we got on a lot of our posts, because we'd post videos of us just talking about advertising, like the barbecue ribs that would be at the event, or little videos with us doing little snippets of things. And I think people like that aspect of it on Facebook, because although there is an older generation, no offense anyone, although there is an older generation on Facebook, I feel it. But, you know, like I said, on each platform, there's a growing audience. So before, it was just young people on Instagram, probably a lot of young people. Now older people are getting it. I've seen politicians that have it. I see politicians that have Snapchat. You know, like I said, my older friend, she said, "Girl, help me download this. I need to be in with all you. I'm young too." And you know, and that's that thing. It's just trying to keep, you know, even though we feel we're going to connect to 21st century audiences, to remember that there still are other audiences that we have to appeal to, that entice them to come in. And those platforms have helped us to do that by doing those little snippets and things that, because that exhibit of Mr. Harvey, which, if I don't tell you, that is modeled after my great-grandfather. So that is one of the most, and I'm not saying this because I'm not biased, that is one of our most popular exhibits. And it is because it moves and it talks, and it helps keep visitors engaged, you know. And just that little snippet, people love that. Even if we post something on our personal Facebook with us doing a tour, or us with a snippet next to him or something, people love things like that. Kids are there. Okay, well, let's go and check it out. I didn't know about that place. Wait, isn't the museum the place that's on Esterly Tibbetts Highway? And no, that's National Gallery. So where is the museum? And now we're starting to find, oh, this place is so cool. I didn't know about this. Thank you for posting. I didn't know you did tours. Oh, so we found that it has been very beneficial to the museum. Yes.
Well, so I'll give the mic up, but I just want to say that we did a public program, and it was on race, rebellion, and reconciliation. And just for that one public program, we had 20 million tweets, tweets. But the other thing we did was we brought in, our social media person brought in a ton of social media folks just to walk through the museum during our opening. And even though you're not doing any major opening, it was a really great opportunity for exposure, just to have the social media folks in the area come in and just start sending out messages in mass. So this is really great.
Yes, thank you.
I love it when people's comments spark other ideas, and so my comment to you is a suggestion in that the museum has always been there. It has changing exhibits. It has a permanent exhibit, and with the addition of you two, and I echo Natalie's sentiment in that we hope that we can find ways to have you continue in these studies so that you are grown into the profession of museum and curatorial studies professionals. why not try reaching out to some of the corporate businesses and say, hey, let's have your business after hours event in the museum and encourage some of your employees who are perhaps new to the island or haven't been to the museum in a while, re-engage them, because that's the key part. You engage them, you get them in, but you have to keep them re-engaged all the time.
And just to kind of speak about that, we have had a few events recently where a few firms have decided to host their after hours event or a special event for their clients at the museum, which is tremendous for us because, you know, not only are these people sponsors to us, and it's also allowing, you know, visitors, people who work here who mightn't get out that often or who think, I didn't know this place existed, you know, to get in and see the museum, see what we have to offer. And it encourages you know, everyone to kind of get on that same train that we all have, to be vested in our culture and our heritage, and to have that sense of national pride. Even though they're not from here, it's like, oh, I live in this place that is completely unique, you know, and having those type of events allows us to do that. And in terms of the 21st century audience, a few of my friends, we've spoken, a few of us are, you know, young professionals. We've said, okay, well, maybe this is an idea we can probably do to follow up on events that firms have done for us to get the 21st century audience to come in and do the same type of thing. You know, it's always the worry that, okay, young people, you know, maybe drinking or doing something, it's, oh, this is precious, you know, so things like that you do have to consider. But it is something that we are thinking about. We are always looking for ways to grow, get people like Brian and myself and all the other youngsters to enjoy what we enjoy, you know. Yeah.
I'm just wondering if being a national museum might restrict in any ways the ways that you could actually use social media? Because after all, you're the holder of the national identity, and you're portraying what that identity is all about.
I would say, in a way, we do have to be careful with what we post on social media, but we try to do things that are already public knowledge, but it's just getting it out there, you know. But I think maybe our director, Miss Peggy, or one of Miss Nancy might like to follow up on that for us. Oh, here's a mic. In terms of, sorry, right? If it, in terms,
If there might be any restrictions or
I mean,
how you can use social media.
how we can use it. Yeah, that's been a bit of a concern, but basically what we've got is two very mature young interns who have been with us before. You know, they worked with us last summer. They're back this summer. They've got degrees, and they run things past me, you know, and other staff members, so that we were working on the content. And I'm just so excited to have them aboard. We are looking really, and they know it, you know, for them to be moving into the. They have the heart among the interns that we've had over the last several years. These two have the very unique heart of absolutely loving the past. You know, the life of the grandfather and that sort of family. So it's like they're absolutely perfect because they're tuned in to the world of social media. You know, they've really taught me a lot, and I just have so much more to learn. But they have that love that is going to make them hopefully, you know, the leaders of the future at the museum. So we do trust a lot of their ideas, but they don't just run with everything. Sometimes an idea slips out too soon, or there's a photo that we should have gotten credit for, or something like that. But it's a learning experience, you know, and isn't that right? Yeah. You know, so we just, the good thing about Brian and Shenice is they don't have a thin skin, you know, so when things happen, we just talk about it, and, you know, and there were great ideas outweigh any kind of little technical things that we overcome.
Just wanted to
add to that, because any ministry, and our BVI colleague is with the Department of Culture, has the same issues. If you're representing national, you have to be very, very careful, but you don't want to stifle all creativity. So what we do is we make sure we run things past, don't surprise your boss kind of thing. You know, if you're going to buck against the trend or against management, do it in a professional and a respectful way. But also, I have to say, speaking from experience, I maintain our Facebook page, and I was listening to you. I was just struggling with my 46-year-old fumbling fingers to try and figure out how to post a picture of you, and it looked like I wasn't listening. And this is where you guys come in. With Natalie and with Caitlin's work here at the gallery, right? I can just take their work and load it up on Ministry of Culture and show the world our culture. And with CNCF, same thing. Up until you all arrived at the museum, you know, Miss Peggy didn't have that assistance so much in that area, and there were gaps, and it was kind of every other month. But now, you know, it's the same thing as the other two organizations, and now one of the things we have is the landfill, so can we just get DEH to come on board? So as I say, we need to steal some of you young people for these organizations.
I've got a comment as well, and I think that, you know, one thing I'm sure that your social media strategy fits in with the overall kind of marketing strategy of how you're sharing your events in the museum. And if not, that would be a really great opportunity for, you know, wider exposure as well. But also, I think just reminding our team that we're not posting personally. You know, you can share what's important to you, but it has to be within the confines of the organization that you're working for, and that is really a big responsibility.
Right.
But I think, you know, we're clearly in very safe hands, and it was a really inspiring presentation.
Thank you.
Do we have any more questions, or? Oh, we have. Yep. Okay.
In response to what Pam was saying about like asking corporations to have their events at your museum, also maybe asking them as well, because I know, because I Snapchat a little too much as well, I get the whole, you know, feel, but I know that like you can buy a tag for your museum, but that it's expensive. So like obviously maybe once they've done those events, then be like, you know, if you really liked it, do you think you might want to sponsor like paint this, or like especially because I know like I've been listening to the whole thing of yes, tourists are important, but this is your, you know, this is your island, but also you are right off of where the cruise ships come in. And I know that all the teenage girls, including myself, even though I'm not a teenager anymore, like being like, look where I'm at, like, and other than having, and you like having as many of those geofilters as possible. So maybe even getting one of those would be great for then tourists to be like, and look where we were today, we were at the National Museum too, because there is one here other than just beaches and whatnot. So it might be just another add-on.
Well, we have tried, and like I said, there are limitations towards getting filters and different things. It's like if you're an organization, it's like, oh, we don't have organization filters or logo filters within your region yet. Coming soon. So we've thought about these things, and it's just a matter of us being able to get it done as well. And to speak about knowing that we're posting on the museum page and our organization's page. We tried an exercise the other day that we didn't talk about today, but it was on our personal Facebook where normally when we're brainstorming for different events or something that we can do, we get a little, we might go back and forth a little bit, like, no, this doesn't make any sense, please stop, like, you know. So then we try little exercises, team building between the two of us, and one of the exercises we tried was a brainstorming idea, and we did that on Facebook Live, and the engagement that we got from that, the live engagement that we got from it, was incredible. And it allowed us to be able to talk to all of our, I saw some family, some friends, like, oh, this game is so fun, and we're there, you know, saying to ourselves, like, this is how we brainstorm, like, this is how the creativeness happens, the method behind, like, the madness. But it's things like that we have to do on our personal page because we know that we can't do it on the organizational page. But we're doing experiments, testing things out to see, you know, okay, that worked, people liked that. Maybe we can do something more related to the museum that will benefit the museum in that same format. You know.
It's a really, really great point, and it's great to see that kind of thought process going through. So, and as you say, video is incredibly popular and much more interactive than even stills. To Mary's point about, you know, are you using this to spread the word of the museum or bring people in? Mm-hmm. And I think you're clearly doing both, because the word of the day is such a great way of just a pop-up, a fun kind of competition. It challenges people and then, of course, brings them back in. We are running out of time. We have a question here and then one from Tim. But we do want a 10-minute break for everybody to go out, get some coffee, and then come back in for 1:45 sharp. So if you could keep your questions short and to the point, that'd be great.
Actually, it's a response to the personal company post. I worked for a year at the Trinidad's Culture Division doing social media, website, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. And what we did was two things. Because of the mix in the society, there are many different ways that like some of the key festivals are celebrated. Different sects have different things. So the way we post something, there's a little friction sometimes. People are upset, they report the post, whatever. So we found a way to open it up. So we'd actually post, this is how we celebrate Diwali. How do you celebrate Diwali? Send pictures, and then we establish hashtags. Then in terms of getting traction, as soon as we post on the company page, the manager and I used to go on our personal page and share it and tag relevant people who then shared. We saw it jump. It jumped. And I tweeted everything, and I retweeted.
Like everything.
Yeah, it's like a double like.
He says, that's weird. Why are you liking? We just did that. But that's
I mean,
weird.
one
Don't do that.
day I liked it the wrong way. But
we know numbers count. Numbers count.
Yes.
When people see that something is popular, they get even more interested in it. And that counts throughout. And anything that you do, numbers count. So that's why I like it.
The last thing I'm going to say is that the trending thing we had to build. So there were ministry slogans, in-house ministry slogans that even us as the social media people had to learn. Hashtag culture matters, culture TT. Anything we posted, we tagged that on there. Anytime anybody shared, we asked them to repost with those things. And now everybody knows, okay, you know? Yeah.
That's great. Thank you so much for those comments. And then briefly, just Tim at the back.
So talk about numbers was a good segue to my quick question. Were you able to devise methods of recording the numbers associated as to the popularity of particular posts or particular channels even? Like which of those channels, between Instagram and Twitter and Facebook, is the most effective at reaching? Do you have any metrics like that yet? Have you been able to develop that?
Yes, Facebook they have a program that you can actually get that will provide you statistics, and it'll tell you this post is more popular than your last 5 posts or something, and that has helped us. It'll tell you how many people viewed it and how many people shared it, and we can compare that to what we see on our Twitter, where we might only get like 10 retweets or a mention or something, so, or on Instagram, which our Instagram is new, so we don't have that many followers, and following, that's where you get a lot of it. But there are different outlets that we can use to help us make that judgment to see which ones are more beneficial, which ones are worth putting in the time into. But Facebook has a larger audience, so you will get more engagement from it.
If I, real quick, in your social media program, have you included TripAdvisor yet, or you haven't touched that yet?
That is on our website. We have done postings on, yes, we have done postings on our Facebook, and we use, because with branding, we know that we have to stick within their brand guidelines, with our brand guidelines, so we try and find ways to do that and combine the two without there being any friction, tension, yes.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. Can we have a big round of applause? I think that's a great presentation.
Thank you.